Good morning, students. It's the second video of your first language English. In the earlier video, you have seen what exactly the text is, its front page, its back page, as well as the features of the textbook have been introduced to you. As earlier said, today we are going to see for the competencies, that is the abilities, what you are supposed to develop while dealing this subject as your first language. Students, when you consider English as your first language, at that time the skills LSRW as well as study skills should be properly understood. What exactly is expected in these skills? So we would begin with the skills and the abilities. Listening skills. What exactly this listening skills is? I hope you all have downloaded PDF of English text. Later, once you listen to this video, you are going to read about this pages of the abilities: listening, speaking, reading, writing, and study skills. So we would begin with listening skills. I'm just going to summarize it. You are going to read it thoroughly. So when you inculcate listening skills, there you are not only expected to listen to the teacher. Along with the listening, you are supposed to enjoy what you are listening. You are supposed to comprehend, and you must predict what would be the next statement. You must be able to analyze whatever content you do listen. You should be able to appreciate in the same language. You must learn the skill in such a way that you could give the interpretation of the literary piece. It may be an informative lesson, it may be poem or a prose part. And once you develop this listening skills in you, ultimately you could speak very well. You might have seen small babies, newborn babies, they do not know how to speak right when they do take birth. They listen for near about 2 years, and then listening make them able to speak. Same is expected in our case. When you would listen others carefully, when you listen any language for a longer period of time, you could be able to speak it. So I hope you might have got what exactly the listening skill is. Listen with understanding, predict what would be the next content the speaker may speak, should be able to interpret later what you have listened, should be able to appreciate the speaker and give your opinions in the same language. Okay, we would move ahead to the next, that is the speaking skills. Here, as I told in the previous video, your confidence matters a lot. Even though you go wrong for some period or a specific period of time, don't bother. Your teacher may correct you. Your classmates would tell you where do you go wrong. But unless and until you start speaking, you will not develop confidence. As along with that, teacher also would not gain the mistakes what you are doing. So for this, as I told earlier, this would be a subject where you are supposed to understand your abilities, your plus points, your minus points, and make teacher understand what sort of help do you require. If you see the picture shown over here, the picture tells us that here this child is one from the class who doesn't require the help of the teacher. Less help is required. The second one is the middle group from the class, and the third one child belongs to an average group. So accordingly, once teacher would understand children's abilities, plus points, minus points, then and then only she could categorize you, and for that sake you should be very friendly with the teacher, should not feel bother in the class, and make teacher understand to particular which class do you belong. Are you a child who needs help? So the help would be provided as per the requirement, and you could have a hold on these all skills and you could gain these skills. If you need little help, that much only would be provided, and if you speak confidently and make teacher understand to give you more and more, as you are an extraordinary child, you do not require the help, so as the help is provided to other group, some extra work would be given to you and your other qualities caliber would be extended. So when you are in the class, always remember, let teacher understand to particular one group you belong to. So be very confident always whenever you are in the class. Try to speak fluently, get a good fluency in your speaking, communicate with each other. You should be able, once you learn the speaking skills, you would be able to describe the things in a proper way, situations, and you would be able to narrate an incident, you would be able to sum up the story you have studied, and these all things are expected when you learn the speaking skills. Hope so you might have got the idea what exactly the speaking skills are. Apart from this, in the speaking skills, you are supposed to interpret the topic what you have studied, should be able to appreciate the different literary pieces, you should be able to understand the literary pieces. Next to this, we would move ahead to the reading skills. Reading doesn't only limit you to read fluently, but whatever you read, you should be able to pass on to the listeners group. You should take a proper pause. You should be able to pronounce the words. Pronunciation of the words should be proper. Your speech through reading should be quite clear. You should be able to understand what you are reading. Comprehension can be said. Next to this, we do have some more features of the reading skills. You should be able to understand the meanings when you read, should be able to understand different literary pieces as you read, and when you are reading, you should be able to relate the read matter with a different day-to-day situations in our life. Next skill is writing skills. Writing doesn't go only for the print copy of writing. Here you are supposed to write grammatically correct, should be able to make usage of different words where vocabulary command could be shown, should be able to use different one-liners, proverbs. If proverbs are there, you should be able to expand them, explain them. Different sorts of letters you must be able to write, essays you must be able to write. If you have been asked to write a report on any situation, you should be able to write it in a clear way. So this is something what has been expected in the writing skills. Apart from writing skills, study skills is the next or the fifth skill can be said. You are supposed to learn with the help of this text or throughout the class 10th. So these study skills would be further used when you are going to take higher studies. So what sort of methods you are supposed to use when you are going to study. This would not be only useful for studying English. Apart from English, some other subjects also you can use it. So what all different new things you learn in the lesson, you should be able to compile it. You should be understand the key words of the learn concepts. You should be able to understand whatever you have studied, and you should be able to relate it with the practical life. This data, whatever you have studied in the lesson, you should be able to transform it in the convenient form. For example, some web diagrams, web charts can be made, and in the form of webs, you are going to fix it in your memory card. So when you are studying, do not go for full lesson or just memorizing. Whereas you are supposed to figure it in such a way where you could remember it for a long time. Have your own diagram where you can make use of keywords, and with the help of keywords, you are going to understand the lesson. You can interpret it later on, or at the time of exam, you can just remember the diagram. It may be a pie chart, it may be a tree diagram, it may be a flow chart, or it may be a web. With the help of these diagrammatic representation, you can remember your lessons. Here, while dealing with English, I would request you, don't focus on learning anything. Focus on understanding, comprehension, and focus on vocabulary, so that you could get the book in a very well manner. Thank you.